Hey everyone, it's Rebecca with Team Ladybug. Thank you for joining me for the May Beetle Box. Let's go over what we got in the Beetle Box this month. The first item that I'm going to look at is the QL logo Queen Ladybug Productions apron. This is a really nice quality apron. I like the logo and the detailing. Next we got 3 feet of Lots of Spots foil, which is a nice leopard print, and Sensationally Sunny Glimmer Glitz Hollow Dust. This is really nice micro fine glitter that you can either burnish in and make it holographic with like a rainbow effect, or you can use it for dusting, or you can do what I'm going to do later on and add it to top coat to make a glitter like paste, and you can paint it on. Okay, next we have the 6-piece Gold Luxe Manicure tool set. These are stainless steel gold manicure tools, nipper and cuticle pushers and scrapers and cutters. So it comes in a nice case with a foam protective layer, and these are the tools that are in the case. So the first one is cuticle nippers, or just regular nippers, and they have a nice spring action to them. I would just keep the cover on them for safekeeping and to protect the blade. And this next one is like a small scraper and pointy tool, which you could get under the nail or in the cuticle to scrape it up. And the next one is a scraper cutter tool if you have little egg nails or hang nails to cut on the sides. And then this is another pusher and cutter scraper tool, just depending on what you're using it for. And the last one is more of a pusher tool, and the final one is for either scraping cuticle or scraping gel polish that has been soaked off. Okay, let's get into what I'm using on the nails today. Velvet Touch Matte Top Gel, Ladybug Luster Wet Look Top Gel. I'm using Pixie Sugar from the Eye Candy collection. Vintage Villain Cream, Full of Woe. Metallic Glaze from the Red Carpet series. I'm going to be using Profile's Outshine, and I'm also going to be using our foil gel. Along with that, we're going to go with the Minx Gel Polish Lion in the Sun Cat Eye Gel, and I've also got Velvet Touch One Stroke Paint in black. And I'm also using something new, the black and the red 5D sculpting gel, sorry. And for brushes, we're going to use the Petal brush, 9mm, and also a dotting tool. If I use anything else, I'll add it in later. These are the nails that I designed using the products that we had this month. I know we did leopard print last month, but can you really have enough leopard print? I don't think so. For the first nail, we are going to use Vintage Villain Cream Full of Woe. I'm just going to put some of this on the palette so we have a little bit to work from here. You can use any palette you have. And then we're also going to be using the Lion in the Sun for this nail, so get that and set that aside. You're going to need a cat eye magnet, and also I'm using a 9mm brush to draw on the spots. I'm going to place the foil here so I have a little bit of a guide to go by. I've already used No Buff and a base coat on this, so now I am just going to paint some random leopard print spots, ones that sort of go with the foil that I've got. Okay, I didn't think you could see it very well, so I put it on a background where you can see exactly what I'm doing, but I'm just going along here and copying similar spots to what I see in the background here in the foil. And you don't want these too close together, and you don't want too many of them, so just place them randomly. I'm just going to drag some off the sides here and make it look close to what we've got. It doesn't have to be perfect. We are going to cover over this. You'll still be able to see them, but we're going to put a layer of polish over them. And so just place them sparsely, as you know, farther apart as you can, but still make it look good. So I'm just going to place them on the edges. I want them around the outside a little bit, and then I think Maybe we'll put one in the center here, and just gonna drag and squiggle my brush around to make a leopard print. It doesn't have to be perfect, like I said, because you're going to cover this up. You're not going to see it fully, but you do want the black full of woe for this, which it makes a really good painting detail gel polish. If you're looking for something like that and you've already got this color, great polish to do this with. It's a little bit thicker, the pigment's tighter, and I love this one. Full of woe is actually my favorite black. So I'm just going around the edges and adding a little bit of the leopard prints here and there where I think it'll look good. I want to leave some space for other leopard prints, so don't make it so tight together. And depending on the shape of the nail that you're using, you can copy my design or do what fits best on what you have. I just want to adjust a little bit here. And I'm going to take some of the gel because I don't want it to be too thick. This nail still needs to be flat, so I'm just taking some of the gel from there that I've already used to finish up some of the detailing. So I will just keep going here until I think it looks good, and use your best judgment. I'm going to fully cure for 60 seconds. Okay, now I've got the Minx gel polish lying in the sun, and I'm going to take this and I'm just going to coat the whole nail. Make sure you fully cover the whole nail. Don't do a thick layer though. Make sure it's pretty thin. You still want to see the full of woe spots through it, your black spots, and just make it even. But don't cure yet. We're going to use the magnet. So not the round side, but the flat side. Bring it in on one side, then the other, and then you can pull the flat side down on the top, pull it forward, and the bottom. I'm just trying to make sure it's like a nice even coat, and then you can see the way it is. And then you cure for 60 seconds. Once we're back with that fully cured, you're going to get lying in the sun again. And we're going to go in between where the spots are. So take your polish and start painting in sort of a swirly pattern, or like not a straight line is what I'm trying to say, and go around some of the leopard spots that you've already done. If you go over a few, that's fine. I'm going to try to make sort of like a backwards S here. I don't want it to be a straight line. I want it to be wavy. And then I'm just going to take my dotting tool, and unfortunately this is a little bit out of focus, but I didn't realize it when I was filming it. I'm sorry. And you're going to swirl all the way down, just like you would a regular, when you do the Minx polish, you'd put a regular layer down, and then your second layer you'd swirl. So I'm just taking a dotting tool and I'm making squiggly down. I think you can see what I'm doing, and then in a minute it's going to come back into focus. And I'm just going down the whole line all the way, swirling up and down and around. I decided the swirls were a little too big or too perfect, so I wanted them to be a little bit off, and I just went over it a second time. Now you're going to take your cat eye magnet, and if you only have one of these, I'm going to show you, you just go in on one side and do the bottom part of the backwards S, and then you flip it around and you do the other side. And this will give you the desired effect of, you know, two cat eye magnets going together. If you happen to have two cat eye magnets, you can just go in like this, which I find to be so much easier and faster, and then you just do the pattern the way you want it with the two cat eye magnets working together. So then once that's done, fully cure. So we're back, and this is what it looks like when it's cured, just so you have a good visual. Okay, now you're going to get your full of woe again and a 9mm brush, and this time we're going to do the leopard print spots, following along with the foil that we've already got laid out as our pattern, and place it in between the areas where we did not do the full of woe spots before. This will look good if you do it over the swirled areas, and also even if you did do it over some of the other spots, that's fine. I think I'm going to be probably having to do that because of the way I placed the spots originally. But because we covered them up, it's not going to look bad. It's not going to look like you're repeating. It actually will match the foil a little bit because of the colors and how they blend together. So I'm going to keep going here, and I'm just going to put some around the edges to blend in together with the leopard print that I've already got going down around the side. Remember, we are trying to sort of match the foil, not exactly, but go along with the foil, and that has lots of spots, which is why I chose the name Lots of Spots for that foil. But keep going around until it looks good to you. I'm going to do a little bit more around the edges, one up at the top, a little bit more here and there. Just look at it and see how you like it. And I think, no, I think I need to add one more dot right there because it looks too much like the other one, and I like that little dot there. And then once you're happy with the design, you can go ahead and cure this for 60 seconds. Okay, we're back. So we're going to get some Ladybug Luster Wet Look Top Gel. I'll put a little bit of that on our palette and just a little dab there. And then once you have that, grab your 9mm brush again and go ahead and get some of the Sensationally Sunny Glimmer Glitz Hollow Dust. You don't want to add too much of the glitter, but enough, and just a little bit more there. So I added 3 little brushfuls. So I'm now going to take it and I'm putting this in the center of the leopard print dots. So I don't want this to be too thick. I don't want these raised up. So make sure when you're doing this, it's not too thick. You just want a thin layer. If you do want the dots raised, you can go ahead and do that. I don't want them to be raised. I want it to be pretty flat nail. So I am just adding it to the center of all my little spot areas. And this adds a little bit of texture, even more texture than the cat eye did. And let's just see if I like that. Okay, missed a couple spots over here, and I'm just going to add a tiny bit to that. When you're happy with the spots, you can fully cure. Okay, we're back, and now I'm going to use metallic glaze. Because I used the Wet Look top coat, I don't want there to be any issues, and I also want this to be a level nail flat, so I'm just using this to even out the surface, and I'm going to fully cure. Now I'm back, and I'm just going to top coat it with the Ladybug Luster Wet Look Top Gel, and then this nail will be done. As per usual, I've already done no buff and a base coat, so I'm adding Pixie sugar, and we're going to need this on 2 nails. So do 1 nail with 1 coat and 1 nail with 2 coats. Unless you're heavy-handed, then you can just do 1 coat on 2 nails. And when you get that done, just cure both of those so you have 2 nails ready to go. Okay, with the nail that you've only done 1 coat on, we're going to fully coat that nail with foil gel. Once you have that coated and it's all level and even, do like a nice thin layer. You are going to cure that for 2 minutes. While that's curing, I want to point out one nice feature about this manicure case. On top of the items in it, you can use the case to hold your magnetized tip holders. They will stay on it and they won't slide off. So that's another little feature. Onto our second nail coated in Pixie sugar, you're going to take foil gel and you're just going to cover half the nail with it. It doesn't matter which side you cover, whatever you want, but just do half of the nail in the foil gel and cure that for 2 minutes. And then once that's cured, we'll come back. Okay, so now cut your piece of foil that you're going to use, and this is only the one that's got half the foil gel on it. Just put it on, pulling tightly, and then push that in, burnish it in. You can either use a pusher like I'm doing here, a silicone tool, your fingers, use a cloth like Tracy does sometimes, or however you want to burnish it in. So I'm just going to make sure this is really good and in there, and then we can peel it off, and we've got half of it coated. It looks like a little bit extra got on the Pixie sugar, so I'm just going to take some acetone and pull that off because I don't want that over there. Let me clean up a little bit more at the top. So if you have this, just clean it up with a little bit of acetone and let the acetone dry. Okay, this is the other nail that we fully covered with the foil gel. And now I'm just gonna pull it taut and put the foil on there, and I'm also gonna cut some darts in here just to make sure that it lays on the nail well and I can get full coverage. Sometimes if you don't do that, you get the wrinkle, and I really want my foil to be lined up and no crevices or cracks or whatever in it. So I'm going to burnish this in. You can do it with a silicone tool, you can do it with your fingers, you can do it with you know, any sort of cloth that you want to burnish it in with, however you want to do it, and I will meet you back after I've done that. Okay, this is what I meant by using a cloth, and just burnish it in the best you can. Alright, so we're pulling this back and we did a pretty good job. Now I'm going to take metallic glaze and I'm going to coat the whole nail. This is so that it adds like a double-sided sticky tape, and we want nothing to slide off of this for the next step. So once that's cured, we're going to go ahead and add a matte top coat. So I'm using Velvet Touch Matte Top Gel. I'm going to cure that. And now I'm going to come back in with the palette that I used from the last nail, and I am taking my foil, lining it up again so I have a good placement idea, and I'm just going to take the Full of Woe polish and I'm going to finish off the leopard print that got cut off and bring it down, and the ends here, I want it to look complete. I don't want it to look like it's all jagged and not done. So I'm going to bring those down, and we're going to basically do the leopard print over here without the foil. This is going to just, you know, give like a split nail look, but it looks pretty cool. And again, I'm following sort of the pattern design of the foil. It doesn't have to match exactly, obviously. But when we pull it down, we want our leopard print to be thicker like it is on the foil, and we want it to, you know, go together well. So I'm just going to bring this over, and then once I'm happy with that, I can start adding more leopard print that doesn't, you know, that isn't on the foil. Like we finished the foil part and pulled it over, and then we'll go ahead and add our leopard print over here. So just take your Full of Woe, dab it on. I want it to be bigger and thicker, and the placement is a little bit confusing when you look at the foil because there's really 3 different colors on there, and we're only going to be using one color here to bring it down. So try to do the best you can to match it or to give the same sort of vibe that the other one has. And I'm just trying to make these a little thicker to go with the foil. So touch it up how you best think it looks on your shaped nail, and just bring it through. I like when you have only half foil and you continue the way the foil looks but without the foil. So that's what we're doing here, and it's getting pretty good. I think I'm almost done. Once you're happy, you can fully cure. Now we're going to take from our palette the same gel that we made from the Sensationally Sunny Glimmer Glitz and Ladybug Luster Wet Look Top Gel, and we're going to put it only in the dots that go down the center between the split and over on the side that we hand painted. We're not putting it on the foil side at all because that's already got 3 colors, so we don't need to add any more to that. I mean, you can if you want to, but I like the way it looks only on the one side. And this will sort of match the other nail and bring those together as a set. So I'm just, like I said, doing it. It seems like this nail is thickened up a little bit since I mixed it, so I'm just trying to take off some and add it, but I don't know how this is going to work. So depending on if you did it quickly enough or if your gel, you know, got a little bit thicker, you may have an issue with this. I'm just trying to make it work here, but I think that I'm probably going to have to thin it out. It's just too thick. So if this happens to you, just take a little bit more top coat and take some of the glitter in the gel that you've already got and remix it together. You don't have to do a whole new thing. You can just take what you've got and put it together, and that will give you a little bit thinner consistency, and you can work with that. Again, this is because I don't want my dots raised too much. You can see here that the nail is pretty flat. I just don't want anything sticking up that I'm going to have to buff off later. So once that you're happy with that, fully cure. Just remember to leave the other side clear. We're going to come back in and cover the whole nail with metallic glaze. This is for the foil that's already on there, the top coated Glimmer Glitz, and just to even out the surface. So once you have that on, fully cure. Okay, then you can add your top coat, and we are going with Ladybug Luster Wet Look Top Gel. This will bring out all the glitter and shine. Cure. Okay, we're back with the other foil nail that we matte top coated, and we're going to get Velvet Touch 1-stroke paint in black, the 15. And I'm just going to squeeze some out on my palette. I'm going to get a sponge dauber, and I'm just going to tap out some of the black. And then I'm going to take and go around the edge, all the way around the edge of the nail in this 1-stroke paint. You can use it for gradients. It's really great for that. So I want to add a little bit of drama to this nail and bring in a little bit of a darker element, because we're going to make this nail pop with the next thing we put on it. So go all the way around the edge, and then once you get that part, make sure you dab off some of the color. Don't leave it fully saturated, because we only want a little bit right in the center there or off to the side, and then you can fully cure. Because I want this nail to be matte, I'm going to come back in and coat it with Velvet Touch Matte Top Gel and fully cure. Alright, now we're going to use one of the new products that's in the summer release, 5D Sculpting Gel. And I've got red here. I've already opened it. We'll talk about that in a minute, but let's look at these tools and see which ones we want to use for this project. You could use this one. I think I probably will use that one. I'm not sure about this one, but any of these tools honestly could be used with this product. I think they'd work well, so I'm just going to pull them all out and see which ones I want to use. Okay, so I just chose the first one that I pulled out, and I'm going to grab a little bit of the 5D Sculpting Gel. This is really malleable. You can roll it around in your hand. I would use gloves because it is a gel product. And then I'm just going to place it on here. You can use your fingers. You can use a tool. I want to pat it down, and I'm just going to mold it into what I want, which is a ladybug. So I'm going to take the tool, and I'm just going to do a little dent in here, and I am making it big because I've got another step I'm going to do. And then I'm going to take a dotting tool and add the ladybug dot. I'm just doing a few and not exactly how a ladybug would look, because we'll add detail in a minute. It's best practice to use a silicone stamper to get any fingerprints or dents out that you don't want, and to make it look smoother. This does not stick to the 5D gel, and you can move it around, you can make it flat, you can mush it however you want. But do you see how the dots are now squishing together and becoming smaller? That's exactly what we want. So I'm going to come back in with my cuticle pusher, and I'm just going to straighten out, because when I smushed it down, I smushed it a little bit too much. That's the great thing about this product. You can keep working it until you cure it. Once you cure it, obviously you can't move it around. So let me come back in, because I lost my line, so I need to put that in again. You can use this tool, or another tool that you have a fine line for, and then I think that looks pretty good. At this point, I'm going to fully cure it for 60 seconds. Okay, let's talk about these tools. These are great to use with the 5D Sculpting Gel because of all the different ends and the points on them. And you can also use the cuticle pusher part. But if you're going to use it as a cuticle pusher, make sure to hold the cuticle pusher at a 45-degree angle to each nail, and you gently push each cuticle using the flat or round side of the cuticle pusher. You would then, trim excess skin or hangnails or egg nails. I personally refrain from cutting the entire cuticle because it's not in my scope of practice as a licensed nail tech. Anyway, I like this particular one for scraping, but I also like using it with the 5D Sculpting Gel, and the other end is really good for making dents in that as well. So go ahead and play around with those with the 5D gel. So this is what I mean by using this tool for lines, and then also the other end of the pointy tool you can use for the dots. Okay, back to our ladybug. We're going to get the black 5D sculpting gel, and I'm just going to grab a little tiny bit of that for the head. If you notice, my ladybug looks really matte because I wiped it off with alcohol when I was doing something earlier, and I am just going to place the black 5D gel right there. I'm going to use the cuticle pusher to put it into place. Just smush it in where I want. I'm making it much smaller, but once we put the dots on, it'll look bigger. Right now it looks really tiny for a head. I'm going to use the silicone stamper just to smush it into place and mold it the way I want. Just remember, you can move this around because it's not cured yet for a little bit. And then I'm going to take the little tool, and like I showed you where you can do dots, I'm doing 2 tiny eyes on him, and then I'm going to fully cure that once I'm happy with the shape and the way it looks. Next step is dots. So we're going to get Vintage Villain Full of Woe, put some of that on our palette, just the tiniest dot. I'm going to get my 9mm brush again. You could use a dotting tool for this if you want to. I'm going to use my brush, and I'm just going to add little dots where I put the indents on the ladybug. So 2 right behind the head of the ladybug, and this is where it'll make the ladybug's head look a little bit bigger. And then down the back, I've got 2 on either side of the line. And I'm just going to add those in there, and then once those are done, we can get a little bit more gel on our brush, and you're just going to drag it out so it's fully coated, and then you're just going to do the thinnest line down the center of his back. Then you can fully cure that gel polish. Okay, now we're back, and I've got Ladybug Luster Wet Look Top Gel. I don't want this over the whole nail, so I'm going to put some on my palette, get my Petal brush, and I'm going to just cover the ladybug with this. Be careful in your coverage because this will run, so just do the thinnest layer over the ladybug, and then I'm going to add a little bit more to make it a little bit thicker, and then once I have that on the way I want and it's got coverage, I'm going to take the nail and I'm going to flip it over. This way I can ensure that the gel pools at the top and make him really pop. Once that's pooled the way I want, I'm going to pop it in the lamp and cure it, and then that nail is completely done. Next, I've got a black nail that I've pre-prepped and used Vintage Villain Cream Full of Woe. I'm adding OutShine over the top of this in a thin layer, and I am only going to cure this for 10 seconds. I'm going to get my sponge dauber, and I am adding this Sensationally Sunny Glimmer Glitz Hollow Dust, and I'm just putting that on, and I'm burnishing it in. I'm going to dab it on, but I'm definitely going to rub it in so I get that rainbow effect. And over the black, I don't know if I over cured it. Depending on your lamp, you may have to cure for less than 10 seconds. And it looks like I've got a spot here that's just not covering. So we'll take care of that bald spot, but I'm going to cure this for the full 60 seconds. Okay, now I'm back and I'm going to use metallic glaze. So you would do this over the top of it anyway, so I'm going to show you a little trick. After that's cured, you're going to come back in with the metallic glaze sticky on it, and you're just going to apply the Glimmer Glitz. Just burnish it in. It looks really dull, but you'll be surprised once we put the top coat on, it's still going to have that rainbow shine. So I'm burnishing it in, rubbing it in. It's covering the bald spot, and you can use metallic glaze for that step. Now again, unfortunately, we have to do another coat of metallic glaze. So we're just going to coat that because otherwise the top coat will not stick to this full coverage glitter. But you can see here's the rainbow effect already working for us. Okay, and now we're also going to take the OutShine and put it on the Pixie Sugar nail. We've done another nail in Pixie Sugar. We're going to put Outshine over the whole top of this, but this time I'm only going to cure for 7 seconds. Okay, we're back, and let's see how it works with the 7-second cure. I'm just going to dab it on, make sure that I've got full coverage, and then once that's on, I can burnish it in. But let's just do full coverage here and lightly burnish. Maybe I was using too much pressure before, and look, yep, we have full coverage this time. So less cure time and not smashing it in. So yay, this time we can use metallic glaze, and we only have 1 layer of glitter, which makes the nail thinner, which is what we want. So I also wanted to show you the difference between using Pixie Sugar, which is a light creamy color, versus black. And this is the difference. You can see one is more of a dark gold and one is a light gold. Now we can top coat with Ladybug Luster, Wet Look Top Gel, and then these 2 nails are finished as well. So once you get that done, fully cure. And that is it for another set of nails from the monthly Beetle Box. I love this set. I really love the middle nail that I did, and I hope you liked it too. Please leave us a comment, tag us in any nails that you do, and have a happy nail day.